they've already would have had experience in stock market, property market, and now they're venturing out into that. So it's
Of course.
I'm not sure if I should sit closer or further away. But whatever I'm doing, it's not working. It's not moving.
Yes, shift across it there. Can you? No, you're right.
Be the cameraman today.
Oh, yeah. What is that?
Unfortunately, they were out of kombucha, so I had to have cider.
Oh, that's terrible. How do you survive? No kombucha.
Tough life.
Oh dear. Life's in the tough lane, eh?
No yeast.
Yeah.
Dry. It's identical of being a nurse or a doctor for 30 years of this.
How is everybody today? You all survived?
Everyone else been in silos. Never actually cross-pollinated outside.
So you'll sort of another 2 weeks?
No idea.
Just secured my dream client.
Oh, that's good.
And it was at our very first meeting. And we had really good rapport, so I shared her my grand ultimate vision of the full package that I would want to provide. And then she called me the next day and she's like, I'm on my way to you. Your vision that you shared yesterday, that's what we want. That's what people need, and we want the whole package. And it's the state government. That's awesome. So we're going to be hosting and managing the Digital Innovation Festival. And because my vision is that we would actually be a hub for festivals throughout the year, because we've got the venue and the workspace for events and programs. And throughout the year we would be hosting and working with festivals.
Have a conversation with you about how you started your relationship with government and how that.
I worked in government for 8 years, so I speak their language. And then she just said, oh, and then at the festival case study that you're doing with us, we can be as a case study, you can then pitch all the other festivals.
Sorry?
So like
So we
you're
actually
passing
built
the
to launch
The passes were.
my business.
That's amazing.
So this works to level 4, it won't work to level 8.
With the ideal design, the state government's
Work to level
economic
8
development.
and work to level 4.
Boom.
Oh,
Yeah,
onto
so then that
level 4.
means from level 4 someone will need to get picked up from level 4 to level 8. So I was saying
She's
maybe
not an
it's easy to
investor,
give
but
your
she's,
pass.
but she's,
So
well,
Yeah.
she
that
kind of
pass
is,
will
and
work to
the
level
state
8.
government's investing in
Yes.
my business. Is
Oh,
that okay?
okay,
The fact that she's
understood. So
Yeah.
that gets
also
us to level
investing
4, but
her-
that's
Yeah.
it.
Like she,
Yes.
Okay.
she's going out of her way to
Yeah, I'm not sure where
introduce me to contacts and
I'm not, can't quite figure out what we need to
I
have
didn't
for.
realise it was connected to economic.
Well,
Because I
this was just discussed with Gemma that you guys
Okay.
needed this pass.
Right, alright.
So yeah.
Not a problem.
local government.
10,
So
5,
the city of
20.
Vienna.
That's some chance
I
to
didn't
think about.
realise,
That's important.
but I should introduce you. So they just want to
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we'll just move this.
a community trip for the work that I'm doing. So I should introduce you to Kim from the Economic Development Department for the city of Vienna.
What's your business?
I'm doing a
I spent 10 years in local government. And I worked in local government in New South Wales, advising and representing all the councils across New South
so I've built
CBR is a creative hub, so they run the
Technology.
standing around working chairs.
CBR.
So there's another husband lighting up the front. I've recently just been
Oh, and I'm not referring to it, I can't think of the name.
yeah.
The short one, more one.
You're the one getting the
Flight.
flight.
And they found that the Victoria's got over 500 places.
There's one more in there.
And I'm like, going, there's 12 of them. Oh, good. That's
Yeah.
1% of the market.
I had a stroke. And then I was so that's the best that you basically put
sorry, yeah, looks like we don't pre-order.
So that's just
Leaps and bounds.
So this is our
that's not what I was
Okay, shall we start?
That's
Chit chat is going well. Can I get everybody's attention for a minute? Sorry to butt into your good conversations. I'm glad to see that everyone's got into a good mode of sharing and collaborating. That's a good start for the evening. How is everybody? Someone's got their dream client. This is good. Anyone else got something funky to share?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
go
got
for it.
prototype's going to be ready on Friday. For my
Good.
That's
That's a
exciting.
nice milestone.
Yeah.
Anything else? You got your first bank. Nice work. Well done.
I got an investor on Angel, Australian Angel Investor, whatever.
At
Emailed me
AIM,
and said,
yes.
I'm interested, blah, blah, can you send me a pitch deck?
Yes.
And I sent it to him, and then he said, I'm in England at the moment, we're trying to call you, you have a lot of interest in your pitch.
Okay. Good. That's a good start. Well done.
But yeah, you've got to pay $200 and they want you to pay more and more and more for nudges or whatever.
Yeah. Yes. That's how it works.
So, yeah, just what am I getting the 200 for, Yeah.
Yes. Anyone else?
You know what they should do? They should make it that money comes out of the leads or investment that the platform generates for you.
If you get investment, you want to work actually.
Yeah, so I mean,
Exactly.
I don't give a shit, but I mean, you go, okay, for the first X amount, give me 10 nudges or something to start with, or give me a taste.
Yeah, and just take it out of any leads that you send my way.
But anyway.
Yes. That's probably the reason why they got the pricing structure like that. Anyone else got any shares for the week or for the first 2 weeks? It's been. Cool. All right. Well, let's get started. We're going to hear about equity today or tonight, and how much of that you should give away or not give away. Does everybody actually understand what equity is? Some vague nods. Okay, that's good. Phew. So I'm glad I don't want to explain that one if we're taking the next hour. So basically, how many shares do you end up with, and how many shares do we give away to other people? Well, there's strange things out there. So the first thing I should say is, beyond what I can give here, which is obviously fairly cursory, be sure to seek advice. Go and speak to a lawyer around this, probably more so than an accountant. So who needs to share in the pie? So the first principle is that, well, at the end of the day, there's only 100% of the capital that's available. You can't give away 110%. That's really, really difficult. The good news is you can always issue more shares and issue more shares. Keep issuing more shares. And what actually happens is a dilutionary effect. We'll do a little diagram in a few minutes that will show how that kind of works. So generally speaking, there's 3 categories. There's the founders, that's you folks, just in case that wasn't clear. There's the investors, that's the people that we get excited about when we meet them on AIN or where else we meet them. And then there's employees. So why did I put employees on there as a category? Because a lot of your businesses, or many of your businesses, you may want to include future employees, members of staff, as part of your share allocation. It's a great way to make sure they don't run anywhere in a hurry. They probably want to stay put if they're all part of the company. So this is a little diagram that I was talking about before, and it'll quickly illustrate typically how this thing rolls out. So in my little example that I imagine we've got 2 foreign founders just to make it even more fun. So right now as we start, the 2 founders have 50% each. He's got half, she's got half, that's it. Everyone with me so far? We've broken anyone's brains. Now whether they got 100 shares each or 1 million shares each, that's for another conversation, which is probably a half an hour further down the track. So what happens next is that, what happens next if we hit the wrong button, is that we go out to family, friends, associates, customers, someone we meet down on Burke Street Mall, we can bash them up and say, give me some money, whatever else it might be. And let's argue that we give away a quarter of the equity to these people. So when we've given away this money, they now own 25% of the company. With me so far? So whether we're raising 50k or 500k from these people, that's not really the point of the exercise here, but generally speaking, we don't have much at this stage of development. We probably haven't got the product yet, so there isn't a lot of value, and that's why we need to give a sizable portion of the equity away. Does that make sense? So then we get to the next stage, which I have deliberately not called Series anything. I've just called it the first external round. In other words, we now go to people that we didn't really have any prior relationship with. It's someone that we hit up randomly on LinkedIn and say, hey, can you be my friend? And they go, sure. I'm suspecting, oh yeah, you seem like a nice person. They go, oh, by the way, can I hit you for some money? And you go, oh, hang on a minute. Right, but that's typically how the approach will go. And I'll make a bit fun of it, but that's typically how it probably feels from their end at least. So assuming now when we get up here, we have a product, we may even have market traction, but at least we've got a product we can show for it, but preferably we have some kind of market traction before we go to external investors. That's what we would like to see if we were going to work with you directly. And typically in that round we give away 20 to 25%, but there are a lot of variations. I see sometimes we give away 45% in this round. Now why we want to do that at 40%, so say for argument's sake we're going to raise $10 million at this early stage of the company and a $25 million valuation, well guess what, it's a fair chunk of the company. But you have to do that, otherwise you simply can't raise that lot of money. And so we, we're going to hit the wrong button. We now get to what I call a proper Series A. So this sort of a little bit of an interim round. Now the proper Series A, again, we'd probably give away 20, maybe 25%. And you can see where this is going. So now we go to Series B. I'm kind of running on a slide here pretty quick. Oops. And so what is interesting thing is when you do this drawing, ahead of time, if you hadn't planned this ahead, you probably by now you're kind of getting into trouble, because the difference here is every single time if you've given away 25 to 30 instead of 20, you would now be in a stage where you have very little equity. Now I should also point out again, just in case it wasn't obvious, that I'm not giving any of the shares away that Founder 1 and Founder 2 had. I'm simply issuing more shares and more shares and more shares in the company. So if they had 100 shares down here, they still have 100 shares. If they had 1 million shares down here, they still have 1 million shares. That has not changed one iota. Anyone know why we do that? The reason we don't transact the shares from the founders is that you may very well get a tax implication if you do so. Right? Because imagine down here when you started the company, between you and your co-founder, you say, oh, this is worth $1,000. You put $500 in, I put $500 in. We go, okay, that's fine. So now you got to here to the family and the friends, you now argue with them and say, this is worth $500,000. And say, all right, okay, it's worth $500,000. So now imagine that you gave some of the shares that you originally had to them. You now created 1,000x value gain. Do you think the ATO's got something to do with that? Because I do. They would come after you and say, well, hey, mate, you made some money, here's a capital gain, we're going to tax it. That's how capital gains tax works. So we don't want to be caught in that net under any circumstances. Now, if the company just issues more shares, your value's gone up, but you haven't transacted. And the way the capital gains rules works is that you can only get taxed if there's transaction. If there's no transaction, there's no tax. Generally speaking, there's some exceptions, but let's not get too technical. This is not a lesson in tax. But that's generally speaking is why you keep issuing more shares. You do never want to give the shares out that you already have. And believe you me that I have cleaned up more than a few shareholders' tables in the last couple of years where people have, issued 10 million shares to themselves and start issuing and handing them over to investors and so on. We go, no, don't do that. And of course with good legal advice. Oh yeah, this is good legal professionals that have taught them to do that. So in this scenario here, 2 years and 3 years on, we've gone into Series B. The two original founders now will have 18% each. If you're a single founder, you would have 36%. Is that a bit of a sobering moment for anyone? Yeah, okay. Now, of course, if the company's worth $200 million and you own 18% of that, you're probably okay with that. You're probably going, that's pretty okay. Happy about that, no problem. But if the company's worth $5 million and you own 18% of that, you just spent 7 years on it, you might not be so excited about it. So
Better than 100% of nothing.
it is, but everything is relative. So this is very relative to what is the pie worth, and this is also very relative to how quickly did we build this pie. So some pies take a lot of time to build, some pies are very quick to build, some pies end up being worth a lot of money and some worth a little money. Some of that you can predict if you build a proper financial model, some of it is just up to a bit of chance. I'm sure the people that started Facebook didn't exactly think it was going to turn into a multi-billion-dollar company. They were trying to do something else. That's not really the story. And that's the story that repeats itself. People didn't build these, what are now companies worth $20 or $100 billion, because they wanted to build a $100 billion company. They wanted to build a company that just did a whole lot of stuff for people and sold a whole lot of things and make people happy and build a social network or whatever it is, sell more software. And it was just a side effect of doing that very, very well. They ended up with a ridiculous valuation. However, you can build an underlying model that proves why this valuation is worth something or not worth something. So I agree with Lisa's point in that it's better to have a little bit of a whole lot than to have 100% of, which is pretty much nothing. But it's worth doing these mathematics ahead of time. And if you go home and you do a little Excel sheet similar to this, and every time instead of giving away 20%, you give away 30%, you're going to be pretty scared of the numbers you're going to get out of it, because that one is just short of half of what you otherwise get out of it by doing that. So we actually have some internal rules of thumb. If you give away too much money, particularly in these 2 rounds here, you're pretty much doomed before you even got started.
What if, you haven't done, so it's only one founder?
Yes.
Then you haven't done seed, family, friends, and your first Series A, so
Then you can afford to give away more.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I pretty much constructed this example to give you the worst case. Because, so say that you're one founder, you haven't done this, you didn't need to do that, you go straight to a Series A and you're raising $2 million in your first round. Okay, that's fantastic. But most people that do that end up spending $1 million of their own money to get to that. A lot of people that spend $50,000 cannot get to that. It's just the laws of physics. It takes a bit more air to lift the balloon off the ground, right? So, any more questions around this? Because this is important stuff.
But with that, if
Yep.
you're the founder and you were saying that you issued 1 million shares,
Yeah.
I think last time at 10 cents.
Yep.
So founder 1, founder 2, they pay 10 cents per share.
Yep.
But to Series A, you may, for whatever reason, then value that at, say, $1 per share.
Yeah.
So therefore,